We start tonight in Tuscaloosa. It will be the hot topic in sports for the rest of the weekend. The Tide go down for the first time in almost a year to the date.
We welcome in News Channel 7's James Sparvero. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Meredith. The Huskies of Northern Illinois look to make a statement as the school made their first ever trip to a BCS Bowl. But in their way stood Osceola and the 12th-ranked Florida State Seminoles. All right, Dalton, let's talk about it. The biggest play of the game, the pick six. It was a wacky play, a bit of a tip drill. What did you see out there and what happened? We'll take it inside to the hardwood now. The Gulf Coast men's basketball team hosted Port City Prep from Charleston, South Carolina Saturday. These two teams with different missions. Bay looking to end its season on a high note, winning against a playoff team from a bigger class. The Eagles, meanwhile, wanting the win and to carry some momentum into the postseason. Yeah, certainly not happy at all if you were in Tuscaloosa Saturday. The Tide, though, still with all the marbles to play for. We'll get to that in a moment. First, here's the latest BCS standing. Hey, Coach, no points in the first half, but it's anybody's ball game, so what are the adjustments necessary to come back in the second half?
Here now with us, we have News Channel 7's James Sparvero to break it all down for us, and what an exciting weekend it was.
Well, you're right, Donna. Things are staying very competitive, very exciting. For anybody out there who's a college football fan, my game tonight had the 7-4 Blountstown Tigers, the runner-up in District 4, heading west to face Holmes County, the champs of District 3. Coach Dodds, Coach, you got the upper hand right now in the second half. Looking into it, how do you manage this momentum? The Sneeds Pirates at 2-2 this season, also taking the trip to Blountstown to face a 3-1 Tigers team in a non-district game. Mr. Ted Williams, I'm interested to know your thoughts on the 2012 season, another regular season in the book. What are you taking away most?
It really is. I think it's one of the most memorable NFL seasons of all time.
I agree. A lot going on.
When you talk about the refs at the beginning of the season.
The referees are the most memorable for me because never in our lifetimes, at least, we're younger, but anyone out there that's a football fan, we've never seen anything like this with the replacement referees.
It was crazy. And then with Chuck Pagano and all the rookie quarterbacks playing well, it's been an awesome year.
And it's not over yet. Absolutely. All right, Adam's got your final forecast next. Stay with us. Well, drama in New York, really. Who's surprised here? The Jets are stumbling through the middle of the season, sitting at 3-6 at the bottom of the AFC East. Donna, you'll just have to keep thinking of the Gators' glory days anymore when you think of Tebow back when he was a Heisman winner and he wasn't terrible.
Oh, now come on, though, James. You don't think he's terrible.
I personally do not. I think he's a very good backup quarterback. 43 years ago, that was the last time the old Washington gym at segregated Washington High School would host an official game. In 1970, Washington High and Port St. Joe integrated, leaving places like this gym a reminder of the country's regrettable past. A past Port St. Joe coach Derek Kernitsky hopes we never forget.
That's something Dr. King would absolutely love, of bringing the communities together, bringing, black and white together and, people of different races, different religions, and that was his whole idea. So it just worked out perfect, and that's really what we want. We're all one community.
This gym holds a special place in the heart of Clifford Jones. Jones, a former player for Washington, reminisces on a typical Friday night on the hardwood.
During the time when we had a game, you could go downtown, you could rob anything downtown, because all the police was right here in the gym. It wasn't standing.
Walking around the gym, it's very easy to notice how old the structure is, which makes one wonder if it can support a very crowded Blountstown-St. Joe game 43 years later.
We are going to find out. We're going to find out on Friday. It should be awesome. It should be wall-to-wall, something you'd see on TV like Hoosiers.
Which you might say makes Coach Kernitsky Norman Dale. But as for that riveting pep talk Gene Hackman's character gave in Hoosiers, Coach K says it will not be necessary.
They've been talking about it since the summer. It'll be one of those games you don't have to give a pregame speech. They already know. I don't have to say a word Friday night.
In Port St. Joe, James Sparvero, News Channel 7 Sports. He's really focused more on being consistent on the offensive side of the ball. He said had Antoine been here, you think they would have been okay. Won some games, of course, but it would have been more of the Antoine Washington show. I also asked him about our spotlight player, defensive tackle Shortridge. He decommitted from Wake Forest, but Coach says he's going back up there to make some more visits, so he could still be a Demon Deacon after all. Also on his wish list, there's the Cornhuskers of Nebraska and also Wisconsin. Now, Coach was a little upset with them, guys. Get this. Coach went on vacation, and that's when he made his trip up to see the Demon Deacons, and then he decommitted. Coach did not like that he did that behind his back. Back up to you guys. You won't hear this from many other analysts, but if Northern Illinois and Louisville, if they could sell tickets and draw television ratings the way that Florida and FSU can, the BCS commissioners could have thrown those two teams in the Sugar Bowl And they could have given us a rematch for state bragging rights between the Gators and the Noles in the Orange Bowl. So, Donna, would you be happy with that, or are you happy thinking about a trip to the Big Easy for your Gators? Florida State's season has ended on a high note, and now tonight the Gators are ready for a showdown in the Sugar Bowl. Jimbo Fisher now has his first BCS Bowl win at Florida State. Gators coach Will Muschamp hopes to join Jimbo with his first as well. Florida will have to do it against a high-scoring Louisville offense. The game kicks off at 7:30 Central Time from the Superdome in New Orleans. Of all the great plays we've watched as this 2012 college football season comes to a close, perhaps none has given us a bigger wow factor than this jaw-dropping hit Tuesday in the Outback Bowl. Here's Mike Tirico with the call. That was Jadeveon Clowney separating Michigan's Vincent Smith from his helmet and the ball. Here it is in slow motion. Clowney would recover his own forced fumble, and South Carolina would win it 33-28. That hit was so good. If I don't see another one like that for the next 5 years, I'd still be satisfied. That's a look at college football this morning. Meredith, back to you. Coach Jay Powell, he absolutely had his young men ready for this one. We start with the sweet three-point shooting of South Walton's Dylan Smith. A handful of triples for him on this Saturday. This play was not one of them, but it didn't matter. Devin Balkman from Bainbridge, Georgia with the putback slammer. Then Chad Frazier in the paint looking to drop the dime to Balkman. Ball is tipped. Frazier recovers, scores the layup, whacked across the head, and one, which he would convert. The shooter's open. Dylan Smith misses, but Balkman tips it to the afternoon's high point man, Leonard Smith Jr. with the dunk. Smith scored 23 in a Commodore rout. The men win it 102-64. They improved to 3-1. Looking at another JUCO ball team in our area, Northwest Florida State College gets wins for their men and women's hoops programs. Both teams undefeated in the early season at 4-0. Congrats to everybody on looking good early.
Thanks, James. Some exciting day of sports today.
It absolutely was, and the championship picture just got shaken up. That was most exciting to me.
The winning quarterback from Flanagan, Ryan Stanley, on the sidelines right now with our James Sparvero. James?
That's right, Jared. Thank you. Ryan, let's talk about it. Just as sophomore, you lead your team on the go-ahead touchdown drive. What did you learn about yourself tonight and your ability to play varsity quarterback? I think you didn't get the homecoming crown tonight, but how about the touchdown go-ahead drive? Not a bad consolation, huh?
Nah. Hey, let's get back to this Florida State game.
Sure, let's talk
That is
about it.
obviously going to be the game everybody's watching this coming Saturday.
Absolutely, and it's really special this year in 2012 because it means a lot more than it has
it
recently
does.
because both teams sitting on one losses, there's so much at stake. It's really going to be exciting in Tallahassee.
I mean, really, whoever wins that game has an outside chance of getting into it.
An outside chance. The Gators, they have a better chance. Florida State, really extreme in my opinion. Florida State really definitely playing to get to Miami regardless. They win the ACC at the ACC championship game. They can get down there and play in the Orange Bowl. The Gators, would they play the SEC champion? It's going to be exciting. It could very well happen.
I know we'll be watching, won't we?
We will be
All right,
watching.
that'll be the big game this weekend.
Under 7 minutes, Bama needs plays. They get one. A.J. McCarron hits Amari Cooper down the sideline. 54-yard touchdown. The roll is alive. 29-24. Bama within a score. Now with the ball under 5 to play, McCarron again with the long ball. This time to Kenny Bell for another tied 54-yard reception down to the A&M 6-yard line. But the momentum would seize. 4th and goal, the defensive moment of the season. DeShazer Everett with the interception. Alabama's perfect season is ruined, and Tuscaloosa is stunned. Final score, 29-24 Aggies. The championship picture just busted wide open. From Roll Tide to War Eagle, it's been a very turbulent year for the Tigers. Still winless in the SEC heading into Saturday. Georgia, on the other hand, in conference championship discussion. To Auburn we go. Coach Mark Richt and the Dogs brought the bite early. Aaron Murray to Chris Conley, 6 yards for the opening punishment. 7-0 Georgia. Second quarter, it's 14-0 Dogs. Murray's rolling. He's going to throw a 17-yard strike on a rope to Tavares King. Sensational grab. Called a touchdown. It would be reviewed. Look at this gem again. King looking down at his feet. Once he makes the catch, gets his toes in bounds. Remember, in college, just 1 foot in bounds necessary. The rolling stands 21-0 Georgia. From there, the beatdown was on. Georgia all over this one. They rout the Tigers and seal their seat in the Georgia Dome. Auburn remains winless in the SEC. Over to Gainesville. Florida survived a serious challenge from Louisiana Lafayette, but even more seriously was Jeff Driscoll exiting the game in the third quarter with an ankle injury. The sophomore was stood up on a quarterback rollout and came down to the turf awkwardly on that right ankle. He suffered a right ankle sprain. The severity of the injury is unknown at the moment, but the good news is no broken bones. And Jacoby Brissett went 6 of 8 and a touchdown as Driscoll's replacement.
Just good morning, James.
Good morning, Meredith. Good morning, Donna. Despite a #1 ranking in the BCS standings, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish still came into the national championship game as huge underdogs, and the experts would prove correct. To South Florida we go, with coaches Brian Kelly and Nick Saban representing two of the more storied and beloved football programs in history. First quarter, Bama wasting no time. A successful first drive sets up this 20-yard touchdown run from running back Eddie Lacy. The Tide go up 7-0. Brian Kelly, he's beside himself as the Alabama offense keeps rolling through Notre Dame's 6th-ranked defense. On 1st and goal from the 3, their second possession is capped off with this pass from A.J. McCarron to tight end Michael Williams. Tide go up 14-0. A first-half beatdown was on from there. Bama 1st and 10 from the 11. McCarron waits for Eddie Lacy to sneak out of the backfield, hits him with the short pass. He spins, does the rest for his second touchdown of the game, helping the Tide roll into halftime with a 28-0 lead. Irish wounds would continue to bleed badly in the second half. Third quarter, McCarron tosses long, looking for Amari Cooper. He's coming home to Miami tonight, good for a 34-yard score, making the case for McCarron being the game's MVP and putting a stamp on this one early. 35-0, roll Tide, roll. Notre Dame would not be shut out. Later in the third, quarterback Everett Golson going the option, keeps it himself. First touchdown in over 6 quarters of championship play against Alabama, but Saban and the Tide just too much. On 1st and 10 from the Notre Dame 19, McCarron finds Amari Cooper again for the touchdown, 42-7. 42-14 ends up being the final. Coach Saban raises the crystal ball, anointing an era of dynasty at Alabama. Here's Coach after the game with his thoughts on winning back-to-back championships. Saban told reporters immediately following the game's conclusion he'll give himself 2 days to enjoy it, and then he'll begin working towards next season. Certainly no time off for vacation when you're on top and everyone wants to knock you off. Yesterday, we asked you to predict last night's championship winner as well as the final score. With 100 responses, no one predicted the exact final score of 42-14, but we at News Channel 7 today still wanted to see a winner. The well-dressed, I'm talking about the well-dressed Sherry Ann Davis. She wrote to us 38-14 Alabama, just 4 points off. That was the closest any of our viewers got, and for that, Sherry wins a News Channel 7 prize pack, which will look great with all that Bama gear. Congratulations, Sherry, and thanks to everyone else who gave us a guess. Girls, we have another News Channel 7 prize pack to give away right about now, don't we?